Making me fall in love with you is easy, too easy to do. Yeah. Thinking about you lately, even though you don't, oh baby you do. Guess is you like me or more. I hope it's more than just friends. Friends. Wanting to be your friend just to feel the drama where we pretend to be friends, and I hope you like me too, the same way that I do, and time never felt so good when I was with you. With you.
Shalom.
Hey, hey.
Hello?
That's good. Got Mosaic Minty on the beat.
Am I
Kind
mosaic?
of Mosaic all of us.
Yeah, you. Yeah, as
Oh
long
my
as
god, my quality's bad.
The CIA is stepping up their fucking game on us.
you're telling me, we had one
That's
good
better.
show, and all of a sudden,
Yeah. Thank you to everyone that last show too. That was a great 30th episode.
yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Big show. Lots of people followed. A bunch of people came and watched. Is anyone else lit right now? Nah, I'm working on it, brother.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll be there. We'll be there soon. Speaking of,
I just woke up after a nap, so
So Michael's kind of lit.
I'm kind of lit, yeah.
I'm like melatonin. Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad week too. We got, I think I was watching the Clippers. I'm pretty sure they won, so that's not good.
Browns just got knocked out.
Our glorious Browns lost.
The team that I built up from the ground up.
They literally took your name.
Yep.
Not just that, but the fascistic Tom Brady has moved on.
Advancing white supremacy every game.
Yep. And now the only hope for the people is the Bills and the brave people of Buffalo.
The brave people of Buffalo. Griselda, West Side Gun leading the
We're
charge.
talking about football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
If
not
the
into
Bills
sports,
don't
so I don't
come
know what
through
I'm
now
talking
that the
about.
Browns have been crucified, the Bills have to defeat the fascist threat that is Tom Brady. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fascistic threat, dude.
It's true.
The walking fucking Nazi.
When's the Super Bowl?
Your
February,
mom?
like first week.
Your
Second
mom?
week.
Fuck you. February? Alright.
Presumably, well, the difference, like some of these other sports are actually delaying games because people are getting COVID. Football's like, nah. So I don't think the Super Bowl's date will change. Pretty sure it's gonna be the same date. but
Called the COVID Bowl.
The COVID Bowl.
do you guys want to? We have a pretty long show today, so I think
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
let's get right into it.
yeah, let's do it.
So here, oh, sorry, it's loading up. We have this video. I think Jacan sent it to us. And it's Joy Reid from MSNBC, absolutely flopping on describing Jon Ossoff as the first Jewish senator when there's like 9.
And the most notable one.
The most notable one who consistently ranks as the most popular politician, Bernard Sanders, she forgot about. Obviously, on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's watch her fold here.
For those that don't know her though, she was a frequent smearer of Bernie.
Very
during both the 2016 and 2020 run.
Very anti-social democratic. Definitely really loves the establishment boots.
Yeah, MSNBC employee.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will be the first Jewish senator, but it could be in terms of Ossoff. But
nope. So yeah, that will be our what the fuck is that thing called? Schnaps or Snopes or whatever. That's our fact check.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, so we can move from that one. I just thought that would be funny.
And this was fact checked by Snope.
Yep, by Snoop Dogg.
So let's move into something really serious really quick. Last night, normal 4 a.m. things, laying in my bed. Going through Twitter and I see this. If you want to go ahead and pull that up, Carlos. Rescuers are searching for survivors buried under rubble from a powerful 6.2 shallow earthquake on Indonesia's Sulawesi island. 5.9 quake hit the same area Thursday, along with more than 24 aftershocks. Geologists warned of more aftershocks in the coming hours. And last thing I read on it, it was killed 80, dozens injured. Obviously lots of destruction, people's homes and whatnot. But yeah, I don't have an update for you guys right now. What's the current numbers? But yeah, dozens injured, at least 8 dead. Lots of places destroyed. Fucking Leo in the chat.
Michael does look cute in 480p still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, obviously this is devastating though. We've had so many
course.
natural disasters this year already, and last year too,
and they're getting
so
worse.
many different hurricanes. Yeah, they're getting worse. We've talked about that too before.
Yeah,
how climate change exacerbates these natural disasters.
Absolutely,
including hurricanes too. Like we've covered fracking, I think too, and that's effect on. I think we covered a story where there was like earthquakes happening in Utah. And there was like a surge of new fracking wells in Utah.
Yep,
coincided with that.
Oh yeah, we scrapped that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I just briefly remember we had that.
I had the whole maps with the fracking zones and the new earthquake zones. Also fucking.
Damn, we really didn't do that shit.
I mean, it's always
that is something we can do again. Yeah,
it's always there. But yeah, that's super true. And we also talked about those land hurricanes, whatever the fuck, like the Derek storms or whatever the fuck they're called.
They're basically just giant wall floods that.
Yeah,
come
it's like a sandstorm, but just hurricanes and tornadoes and insanity. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that really quickly. Something's happening in the world. But let's get back into something that obviously hits home for me. Being a worker, a Whole Foods employee, but also is a step in the right direction, hopefully, and more exposure of how disgusting Amazon is. So we have this piece, this Business Insider piece, kind of bunch of bullshit in there, but it also I don't think they understand that they're exposing how shitty Amazon is, but they are. But anyway, it's just a piece from Business Insider, and the title reads: Nearly 6,000 Amazon warehouse workers in Alabama will next month on forming the first union in the company's history. So obviously, if this passes, this will be not only huge for the labor rights movement here in the United States, but a step in the right direction. Hopefully for the Amazon Corp and its subsidiaries. Seeing a successful union in a state like Alabama could hopefully empower Whole Foods workers, Amazon workers around the country. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the piece here. Whoops. So starting up at the top, about 6,000 Amazon employees. Amazon warehouse workers in Alabama will vote on forming the first union in the e-commerce giant's history, according to a new petition filed with the National Labor Relations Board. The petition, filled by Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, is asking to represent the approximately 6,000 employees who work at the Amazon facility in Bessemer, Alabama. Workers, whether they wish to be represented by a union or not, will receive their ballots on February 8th. Voters must return their ballots, and then, sorry, I have to refresh my page really quick. There we go, fucking ad block. Voters must return their ballots by March 29th. Ballot counting will be held on a video conferencing platform and will begin on March 30th. Eligibility extends to all sorts of positions such as lead fulfillment associate, temporary warehouse associates, but excludes the truck drivers, professional employees, and engineers. So it's more, I guess, like the people who work in like the fulfillment centers, kind of not everybody who, I guess, does like stuff with the store, but still.
Right, I imagine that's probably it's easier for them to organize because they're all together in these fulfillment centers, which we know have garbage working conditions.
Yeah, and
So,
and Amazon does like a lot of
petition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Amazon does like a lot of weird stuff with like contracting other companies like inside, so they don't have to consider them employees. Like our whole sushi station's like a different company. So yeah, I'd imagine like a lot of these truck drivers, through some weird loopholes, aren't able to participate in this. According to the position, the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union requested in November to represent about 1,500 employees until Amazon asked for that pool to expand and cover 6,000 employees. In a statement to Insider, Amazon spokesperson Heather Knox, this is the fun part. This is where it starts getting really weird and very business centric. The company works hard to support our teams and our more than 90% of it, and then more than 90% of associates at our Bessemer site said they would recommend Amazon as a good place to work to their friend. We don't believe that the RDWSU, the union, represents the majority of our employees' views. Our employees choose to work at Amazon because we offer some of the best jobs available everywhere we hire, and we encourage anyone to compare our total compensation package, health benefits, and workplace environment to any other company with similar jobs. So you just had this disgusting piece by their PR person basically saying, a union doesn't know what workers want. Us, the big corporation, knows exactly what workers want. Also, look at us here in a small city in Alabama, in Bessemer, Alabama. Look how good our jobs in compared to other Alabama jobs. Look at our Amazon centers where we're forced to pay our employees $15 an hour due to legislation pushed by people like Bernie Sanders.
What are they even referring to by other jobs? Like, has Amazon not eaten up these communities to where they're the only jobs?
Exactly. What other jobs? Walmart?
Yeah, exactly. In a way, even though she's saying the union doesn't represent the majority of our employee views, she is, in a way, being truthful. She's like, she's telling you that the company and unions, they don't mesh. Their interests aren't aligned.
Exactly.
Amazon is against the workers coming together.
And then I'll go.
Yeah.
And then I will scroll down just a little bit. Sorry, give me 1 second. I forgot where it was.
It's funny they say this doesn't reflect the views of our Amazon employees. You mean the employees that want this? It doesn't reflect
that
their
are unionized? Yeah.
And then just scroll down right under that video, and I'll start from there. The employees vote via mail, which Amazon fought against, pushing instead for an in-person vote held in a parking lot adjacent to the facility, the petition noted. Amazon also wanted to use the company's distance assistant and other company-owned equipment to conduct the election, which the petitioner said could cause a conflict of interest. Rightly so.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
So not only
You
did they
think?
want it to happen adjacent to the property, so you can have all the managers, all those people come out and stare you down as you walk in the facility
Intimidate
to
you.
intimidate you. They wanted to use Amazon-owned fucking apparatus to fucking use to vote, as if they're not gonna like mess up the vote or anything, you know? So it's just like so like I don't know what business. I don't know who the writer fucking. I don't know who the writer works for, but I don't think he realized he was doing such a like a hit piece almost, because it's like here's this big corporation who wants to control how you vote on whether you should unionize or not. Yeah, and it's just it's disgusting how like open they are about wanting to like hijack the election. Like the real
When they're just open about the class war, they're open about, we don't want you to unionize, we're against your interests, we're gonna do everything to make it more difficult for you, including like monitoring your election shit, having it done at our business, all that. And yeah, we gotta recognize it in the same way that our interests are not aligned with theirs.
Exactly. And then that's all I want to read from that piece. The real stop this deal.
But it ties into the next one though. This one.
Yeah.
That dishonesty from Amazon.
Yeah. So keep in mind that they the Whole Foods chick was like basically, we work our hardest to represent the interests of our workers and make sure that they're they're doing good or whatever. We have this piece from Vice here if you want to pull that up.
That's a copy and paste statement, by the way.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. So it's reading off the title. Whole Foods is cutting some workers' paid break times from 15 to 10 minutes. The Amazon subsidiary says the policy change is a part of an effort to maximize productivity. You need to work harder for more time. You get less break. Fuck you, is what this means.
What a wonderful sign. Sorry, I was just going to say that we're growing something good.
You're growing something good. Cheaper products. We're just going to exploit these workers more. Whole Foods has announced a new break policy in the United States, which could result in thousands of employees losing paid time to rest and recuperate during their shifts and work longer hours to maintain their earnings. Also, they had to specify United States because if you work for Amazon in another country, you get 0 breaks.
Yeah, you're a slave.
You have to work for 13 hours straight.
$1 a day.
Yep. Whole Foods employees in parts of Southern California, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and the South who previously received 15-minute paid breaks during their shifts will now receive 10-minute paid breaks. That means on a typical 8.5-hour shift, where the workers in many states get 2 paid breaks, they will now have 10 minutes less to rest total. Because 2 15s is 30, you only get 2 10s now, so that's 20. You're losing a whole 10 minutes to just rest from all the hard work you're doing. This is just another insult from corporate. A Whole Foods employee who wished to remain anonymous because they feared retaliation told Motherboard, which is very smart. If for any Amazon or Whole Foods employees that ever stumble across this, be careful speaking out against Amazon. They will punish you. They're not scared to union bust. They're not scared to shut down union leaders within the business.
Do fraudulent elections for unions.
Exactly.
Literally just showed.
They will clap you. And then go ahead and continue on here. 10 minutes straight, or 10 minutes might not sound like much, but it adds up over time. The change will likely result in full-time Whole Foods employees losing more than 40 hours of paid rest time each year. So which is like an insane number to think about. We are standardizing our expectations for meal and rest periods across the company to maximize team member safety and productivity, and to best meet our operational needs. Meaning exploiting you more to churn out more and more profit. Just squeak out as much as they possibly can. The new Whole Foods policy obtained by a motherboard reads nothing, or noting that in some stores this already is current practice. The policy change is the latest in a series of blows to Whole Foods employees since the health food chain was acquired in Amazon in 2017. In late May, Amazon announced it was cutting the $2 hazard pay for Whole Foods workers only a few months into the pandemic, which is very true.
$2 hazard pay.
Yeah, we got $2 hazard pay for like 3 months or something. Super bullshit. And from the chatter I hear around my store, everybody wants that shit back, and they understand that Amazon can definitely afford it.
It's fucking $2.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
dude.
In recent years, Whole Foods has also slashed healthcare benefits for part-timers. Yep, super true. And something that they don't really talk about right here, but they have purposely really weird rules for becoming full-time and getting a job from seasonal to part-time. Actually, getting yourself into the company to get benefits. They make it really hard and awkward and long and weird to do it. But yeah, slashed healthcare benefits for their part-timers, eliminated popular gain sharing program, which gave bonuses to workers in departments that stayed under budget, and implemented shift cuts after the company after the company introduced a $15 minimum wage, which they don't know, but was, like I just said, forced on them through legislation by people like Bernie Sanders and AOC, who spearheaded this piece of legislation and got it passed. Yeah, huge win, getting all Amazon subsidiary workers a $15 minimum wage. And
it shows it's not about the wage that they have to cave in to get that. Look, as soon as they pass the $15 minimum wage, they're all okay. The whole point is we don't want to spend money on our workers, so now we're going to do shift cuts.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, we have to be cognizant that it's a constant fight against these fucking assholes.
And then continuing on, the cuts to paid break time arrive after Amazon reported its most profitable year on record. After they made the most money that they did, they're like, how can we make more than this? And they're just cutting breaks. That's 40 hours of paid break time that we're losing and they're gaining.
No, I'd actually argue it's because they're cutting stuff like this. Exactly.
Exactly. That they had their most profitable year. They saw that and decided to cut these breaks to make more money next year.
To make more, because they don't see an end to this. That's
exactly. You got to think how many people they are, and then the study said 40 hours of paid break time workers are losing a year. And yeah, all Amazon employee or a bunch of places for Whole Foods are losing that. Yeah, it's disgusting.
If I could say one more thing, it's if you set it to the background too of hey, since the 70s too, production has only gone up too amongst people in the last 30, 40 years. So it's something like this too. It's not about, like we said, it's not about production or anything like that. It's just cram more profit as much as you can. Hurt the workers, it doesn't matter. Wherever you can make money for the shareholders, that's what you're going to do.
Exploit it.
Exactly. And to what you were saying, with productivity going up, you're absolutely right. And it's not like a small margin productivity is going up. I'm talking upwards of 30, in some studies up to high 40s % wise of productivity since the 70s, while our wages have remained stagnant, and household wages have gone down actually.
No.
So we're working harder and we're absolutely not getting paid for it, which eliminates this whole idea of a meritocracy. The whole it shatters it as soon as you realize that, because the whole idea is work harder, you'll get paid more. We're literally working harder, upwards of 30 to 40% harder. Where's our money?
That's the background, and now they're cutting your other breaks because you're not productive enough.
Exactly. They need you to be productive for less.
They need you to die, apparently.
That part.
Give them all you can for as little as they can pay you.
And then I'll go ahead and continue on here. It's horrible, another Whole Foods worker employee said. Whole Foods employee said, a partial reason for me to work at Whole Foods was paid breaks. The new meal and rest period policy also mandates that employees take a 30-minute unpaid meal break if a shift exceeds more than if a shift exceeds given hours. I believe it's after your 5th hour. I think it's supposed to say 5, not give. Many stores previously didn't require a 30-minute break unless the shift ran longer, which workers say will force them to work longer hours for the same paycheck. Absolutely. You could argue that team members will work an extra 30 minutes to make up for the loss of income, another Whole Foods employee from Tennessee who wished to remain anonymous said. Federal labor law does not require employers to grant workers meals or lunch breaks through individual states, though individual states have stronger protections, but mandates that employers pay workers for short rest breaks lasting less than 20 minutes. By shaving 5 minutes off break times, Amazon and Whole Foods will save costs by increasing worker productivity while remaining in compliance with the law. Asked whether the policy change was a cost-saving measure, a spokesperson from Whole Foods says, "This change is part of our ongoing work to streamline regional policies and processes in order to create clear and uniform policies for team members across all regions." And what's up, Jack? Obviously, all my bitches flavored. and obviously, this is just in that little PR piece that another one of their representative or spokespersons said. They said it's to streamline all the regional policies. Why not make a regional policy for 15-minute breaks? Why are you going with less breaks? Why are you continuing to fuck over the worker if it's about streamlining your policies? Why not streamline the better policy? It's because they do not have your interests at hand at all. They want to maximize the amount of money they make while making you work as many hours as possible and paying you the least that you want, or the least amount of money possible. And they're going to continue to try to do that until you're getting paid literally nothing, and they're exploiting you for all of your labor capital, all of your labor power, all the hard work you put in every single day at work. They're going to continue to squeeze that out of you and not pay you enough for it.
That's exactly why they don't want the unions, because it's what would bring accountability.
Exactly. It would give a voice to the workers.
I think in them saying that they're streamlining it too, speaking out of one side of their mouth, while in the other side of the mouth, they're doing exactly the opposite, which is jumbling it up and breaking up people into different groups, like you were talking about both in the last article too and this one, so that people can't organize, so that people are conflicted and differentiated up amongst themselves and discoordinated, so that they can't unionize, so that the whether it be the fulfillment center and the drivers are separate, or whether there's factions within the fulfillment center, the whole point is not it's streamlining to push more money into the hands of a few, but the streamlining is not their job. It's to create more bureaucracy and confusion so that people can't organize.
Absolutely. And
when you look at these systems for long enough, and you see that even when workplaces have unions and those unions are in place for long periods of time, it's almost just like a real antagonistic relationship it becomes between management and the union, which proves that maybe there shouldn't be a difference. It should just be the workers in charge, which that was the whole point of the union, to represent their interests. And if they're constantly fighting against the management, well then why have them? If they're just getting in the way, who needs them?
Yeah, why don't we select managers?
And the only reason they can stay there is because of ownership.
And another fucked up things Whole Foods does, I'll say this, managers that have issues, instead of handling them properly or letting them go if need be, they just move them to different stores. Like there's this dude, he worked at our store, and he had a bunch of issues of being really creepy with the girls, and they just moved him to the Malibu store.
See, they're like the church. They just
exactly
they find out he rapes a couple kids. You move him to the other parish. Move him to Boston the next week.
Do a couple prayers here and there.
Yeah, prayers here and this.
Whole Foods and Amazon are disgusting. I really want to. I just saw we peeked really quick. I'm putting in chat right now the whole workers union Twitter. You should really go check them out and support them and follow them and their fight to unionize Whole Foods. It's a important fight, especially since they're owned by Amazon, which is a mega corp who I believe in 2019 was responsible for more than half of all internet commerce. Everything bought and sold on the internet, Amazon was responsible for half of all of that. More than half, I think. But yeah, so I think it's very important that we slowly fight back against megacorps like that.
Yeah, if anything, I guess now they're the megacorp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you guys want to move to the last thing we have before the break?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So I think kind of in line with that, we should talk about the Democratic Party, because some people have this illusion that the Democratic Party is going to be some force to help unions and people rather than, work for big moneyed interests.
Some saving grace.
Yeah, some saving grace. I'm going to remind everyone who Jaime Harrison is, and I'll just read the headline here from NBC first. It says, Jaime Harrison is Biden's pick for Democratic National Committee chair. Harrison emerged as a star in Democratic politics after he shattered fundraising records in his unsuccessful bid to unseat Senator Lindsey Graham. Can we pull up the Open Secrets link here? And yeah, so as it said, he ran for, if everyone remembers, he ran against Lindsey Graham. He raised unprecedented, a lot of money from like small dollar donations too, but a lot of big time corporate money. And as you can see there, it says he spent $129,767,701. He outspent Lindsey Graham massively, by quite a bit, and still lost. This is Lindsey Graham we're talking about, not only one of the least popular politicians, but also just one of the most closeted gay men in the United States. And he couldn't beat him. So I think this is the perfect person to be the DNC chair.
Another loser.
Someone that gets big money from the corporations and loses to Republicans. Who could be better? He's the perfect guy.
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Yeah. She's the name. She is the party name, the Hillary Party. But
are we gonna get her as Secretary of State again?
No. Well, she'll be interim president after Joe dies of Parkinson's 1 year in.
She'll be the new VP.
Yeah. But I just wanted to put this in because they're not going to stop they work for the money interest. That is the Democratic Party. And they just put this massive fucking failure in, this stooge, who not only compromised on what is supposed to be our democratic values by taking big money, but it didn't even benefit him. He fucking got bodied by Lindsey Graham. So they're both losers, and they compromise their values, which is a perfect description of what the Democratic Party is. So like I said, he's perfect. That's all I had to say about him. Do you guys want to move into our break so we can get to the rest of the show?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move into it.
Yeah.
So everybody, we'll be right back after this song. I see a couple people just joined. You just missed us talk about things like the South Carolina Senate race and what happened with that. We talked about Amazon and Whole Foods Corporation and some fucked up things that they're doing. You can go back and watch the VOD while you wait for the song to play. So yeah, and we'll be back after this quick song. Thank you guys.
pretend that they've got problems too. Never had to pick between red or food. Now you've seen the cause, now up the result. Now you're staring down the barrel of a full revolt. Now the talk gets circles around us like the world never known. Watch your Nassau nation dies in the fall of hope. Just like all we do is sleep and work, and somehow we're always dying and broke. With two jobs you still need a roommate, 'cause the cost of living goes up with every rate. Bogging us down with social issues, saying we should walk a mile in those shoes. But it's just a ploy to pacify. Why don't they try on us for our size? Now they're talking circles around us like the world never known. We'll watch an ass our nation dies in the fall of hope. They got so much more killings to take. We're fighting for terms, so they've got the cake. And they're staring us into the trap, generously letting us eat their scraps. Stockpiling any resource they can, even willing to steal from the poor man. Now it's sick, you see, to my very core. To have so little while they take so much more.
Fucking Michael,
Okay,
dude.
wait, let's pretend like we're talking like which is okay. Watch, just
Yeah,
follow
let's-
me, Reid. Okay.
yeah. I got you.
So in 1848, there was like, well, okay, you have to consider the background on this.
No, absolutely.
Michael,
There
What the
ain't
fuck,
no
dude?
way you made it that far in this podcast.
God.
I really thought I was gonna come back into it.
He's too sharp.
I thought I had more time too. I went to the bathroom and I came back like, holy shit, there's only like 20 seconds or something.
Yeah, I saw it was a longer show, so I didn't want it too long of a break song.
No, yeah.
You guys are just fucking slow pieces. of shit.
Yeah, we just have poor bladder control.
I just want to go get water.
Well, don't do it again. No, I'm kidding.
I'll try not to.
Don't fucking do it again.
Don't fucking. You wanna end up like Vinny? We don't talk about Vinny.
We don't talk about Vinny.
So welcome back, everyone. This is a 3-parter night, so we're gonna have another break after this. For those that are here, you guys just want to jump back into it so we can get to this middle part.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
So, I saw this headline. I thought it was very interesting. It's a Forbes piece here. Title reads off: America's biggest owner of farmland is now Bill Gates. Microsoft guy, big tech guy. Now is the largest owner of farmland in America. So that's super cool. I hope all the Republicans are happy. I hope they're living out all their anarcho-capitalist fantasies. Now, as the monopolies get bigger and more expansive and going into different sectors, we're truly living in the best of all possible worlds.
We can trust Bill Gates, though, right? The good billionaire.
What else are you
good.
gonna spend all this money on? You gotta do
Yeah.
something with it. Why not buy the whole system,
Why not buy the world? Yeah.
or at least buy as much of it as you can?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go into this piece a little bit. Bill Gates, the 4th richest person in the world, and a self-described nerd, who is known for his early programming skills rather than.
Oh, that's
his
actually
love of the
written. No, I
outdoors.
thought you just said that.
No, yeah, it's written in there. He's a fucking weirdo. and whoever wrote this piece is a weirdo, has been quietly snatching up 242,000 acres of farmland across the United States, enough to make him the top private farmland owner in America. After years of reports that he was purchasing agricultural land in places like Florida and Washington, the land report revealed that Gates, who has a net worth of nearly $121 billion, according to Forbes, has built up a massive farmland portfolio spanning 18 states. His largest holdings are in Louisiana, 69,071 acres, Arkansas, 47,927 acres, and Nebraska, 20,588 acres of farmland. Additionally, he has a stake in 25,750 acres of transitional land off the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, which is being developed as a new suburb. So wrong billionaire, sorry. So Bill Gates is going to be my landlord. He's gonna own the farmland where you get your
feed
free-
your cheap corn. Yeah.
yeah, you get your all organic cheap corn, and he's also gonna be who builds your computers. His portfolio is ever expanding, and for some reason, Republicans are okay with the further monopolization of the United States of America under the guise of being the small business party. Getting into it. According to the land report's research, the land is held directly and through third-party entities by Cascade Investments, Gates' personal investment vehicle. Cascade's other investments include food safety company Ecolab, which lots of restaurants use. Whole Foods uses Whole Foods. We do business with Ecolab.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Red Lobster does too.
Used car retailer Vroom and Canadian National Railway. While it may be surprising that a tech billionaire would also be the biggest farmland owner in the country, this is not Gates' only foray into agriculture. In 2008, the Bill Gates Foundation announced $306 million in grants to promote high-yield, sustainable agriculture among smallholder farmers in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. And yeah, this is Forbes. They're gonna do their little puff piece for their billionaire daddies.
Typical patriarchy, Ian. It's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah, no.
We all know. Yeah.
Melinda ain't doing
if we're being
shit.
real, she did about the same amount of work as Bill did to get that money.
Yeah, jack fucking shit.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, but she's not throwing her name into this foundation.
You mean the work of all those software developers who spent tireless hours constantly improving and updating the Windows operating system?
I don't think this show is the dude drug
Bill
meritocracy.
Gates gets all the credit for it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I don't even see her name on the article, bro.
Where's her picture?
The foundation has further invested in the development of proliferation of super crops resistant to climate change and higher yield dairy cows. So yeah, further fucking with the land, and making new crops to survive the cataclysmic change that climate change is bringing the entire world. That Microsoft and their billionaires and corporations have brought. They're the reason we're in the situation we're in.
They're like, we're making the solutions for the problems we created.
Yep. We're gonna put this Band-Aid on this big ass gaping hole that we created. Yeah, and that's just. I think that's the biggest part is that part right there. It's basically them saying, we need to invest more in stuff in we need to monopolize because we got to fix all these problems, and we're the rich ones. We have all the money to spend to fix all the problems. When then they're not, obviously, then they're just gonna use it as a grab to continue to rise and rise.
Yeah.
Get more money and go live on the Mars colony with Elon Musk. But yeah, that's pretty much the article. Fuck Forbes, but I thought it was a very interesting headline because it's insane. Things are, the monopolies are only getting bigger.
Yeah,
the
oligarchy farmland when this money can be used for if we even took a fraction of his wealth, we could help we could use that to help vaccinate millions of people in this country or something, and
Yep.
he'd still be one of the richest people to ever live.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to live anymore.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's just so ridiculous though. Like,
absolutely.
he's just grabbing up, or like you could even look, and you could look this up. His whole campaign to, help drive out hunger and disease in Africa. Like all that money, he hasn't been spending that on like vaccinating African children or like buying them food. He's been doing like a circumcision campaign in Africa because he likes little boy penis. Like,
Yeah.
like come on, dude. It's just ridiculous. The money, where the money goes, where our money goes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, do you wanna move on?
Yeah, and this will kind of all meld into each other right now, and we'll call this like our international piece other than the Indonesia piece, the earthquake that is at the top of the show. Just give me 1 second. So if we can pull the Alamati tweet up, and this is about Uganda, and as we get through this, I'll give you background because obviously we're not taught shit about Uganda, and I barely learned about half of this too. So this from Alamati. It says Daily Monitor story proves Uganda commission either releasing cooked returns or silently crying out for help. Museveni, who's the current despot that rules in Uganda, supposedly had 4,470,820 votes. One additional batch release he had 4,340,134. And he says the riggers went out of this mess. And if you go to that Daily Monitor link, it's actually, you get a 404 error now. It's gone. It's been removed. They have a screenshot we can pull up too, what that originally was, just so you can see it. And then we'll pull that up. We don't have to read from it, but we'll have that up for a second. Then let's move to the Black Star piece, so we can give you context to kind of what happened. And it says here, it's from Black Star News. That's from Milton Alamati, who the tweet was from. It says Bobi Wine and wife says lives in danger. Calls for U.S. sanctions on former President Museveni. In a phone interview this morning with Black Star News and other media, Bobi Wine and his wife Barbie told journalists that their lives are in danger and that the soldiers who have surrounded their home have blocked them from leaving and that they have run out of food. Bobi Wine, whose given name is Robert Kyagulanyi, said he won the January 14th presidential election, quote, by a very strong margin, unquote. He said the numbers announced by the Election Commission declaring General Yoweri Museveni as the winner didn't reflect the true data from official declaration forms from the more than 34,000 polling stations across the country. He called for an international forensic investigation sanctioned by the United Nations, which he says would prove that he won the presidential election. And just as a side here, this is how you can tell that he's legit about his calls, because when you have fucking like U.S.-backed leaders in other countries that are setting up coups and claiming that it was a bullshit election, like Juan Guaido, for example, they don't call on the international community to certify the election.
Exactly.
They just call to be put into power and for the U.S. to do something.
And when they do call for international people to come and verify it's U.S. owned or U.S. ally owned, like
for intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah, not like an actual hands-off approach of actual, democratic viewers to see like what's going on. Like in Venezuela recently, where they did a legitimate election, they had people from all over come and completely do that election, so that they said that there was bullshit.
Absolutely.
Just keep reading from here so we can get through it. He said there was precedent for such intervention, including the case of Haiti. Going forward, Bobi Wine said, quote, "We are putting all legal, all nonviolent," see more of this language that I think proves further that they're doing the right path too. And all constitutional options are on the table, and that includes peaceful and legal protests. Bobi Wine said he and his team have video documentation showing soldiers stuffing ballot boxes, chasing voters away from polling stations, handing pre-checked ballots to people, and also instructing voters at gunpoint on who to vote for. In some cases, people were allowed only to vote for candidates in the parliamentary race, and that the soldiers themselves voted for president on behalf of the voters. He said many of his closest aides are on the run or under arrest. Quote, "We demand for the immediate release of all political prisoners," unquote, he said. He also says, quote, "We also demand for my immediate release, for me and my wife to be released from house arrest, because we have not been charged with any crime. Our life is in danger," Bobi Wine said. Bobi Wine referred to General Museveni as Uganda's, quote, "former president," and called on the United States to impose Magnitsky sanctions against human rights abusers, including Museveni, and to consider a halt to military aid. Quote, "We know that Uganda is a very important security ally, especially in the fight against global terror. But the people of Uganda don't want the United States to come off as sponsoring the terror that is still being inflicted on the people of Uganda," Bobi Wine said. Under the Magnitsky Act, the U.S. government can sanction those it sees as human rights offenders, freeze their assets, and ban them from entering the U.S. And it says, quote, "We request from the United States to stand up to Museveni's blackmail, especially on Somalia. Uganda has deployed thousands of soldiers in Somalia, which the U.S. fear could fall to al-Shabaab militias, which Washington says is allied with al-Qaeda. As a result, Museveni enjoys a blank check when it comes to human rights abuses in Uganda. The U.S. currently supports Uganda with about $1 billion annually in taxpayers' money." And this is, I think, the key of the story, and this is where I'll give you the background on Uganda, is so, when they liberated from colonial powers in Uganda, I think it was Obote became the leader. And he was overthrown by Museveni in like 1985, 86. And Museveni obviously was backed by Western capital powers, so he serves Western capital interests. That's why he's there. And he's been in power since 1986 in Uganda. And to give everyone a reminder, in case you want to know how shitty Museveni is and how little he's done to help Uganda, if you guys remember a story that died out, do you remember in 2012 when Kony 2012 was like that was in Uganda, and Museveni was the leader then too, and he basically let that happen. He let Kony basically build like a little army within his country and did nothing about it for years, because he is a Western-backed puppet. And you could see once you have someone that's younger in Bobi Wine, and someone that's, and they say this later in the article too, that in Uganda, I think the average age of the population is like 16 or 17. So he represents not only like the younger population too, but just this new rise in anti-colonialist, anti-capitalist politics too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear the silence from U.S. media in general, and us not sanctioning them as human rights abusers, but sanctioning like Iran, for example, and which we know just causes suffering for normal people in that case. We can tell here it's clear that Museveni is backed by our capital interest, and that
Absolutely
there is interest in not talking about this story.
100%.
Can we pull up Bobi's tweet? And he has more you can check, but he's only tweeted a couple times since his tweet we're going to pull up. Ignore the charts. You're going to love African Twitter. He says, this was right after the elections. He says, "We are under siege. The military has jumped over the fence and is now taking control of our home." And like I said, he's only tweeted like 3 or 4 times since then. And since then, he said things such as, "None of these military intruders are talking to us. We're under siege." He says it's now 4 days since the military surrounded our home and placed my wife and I under arrest. We have run out of food and supplies. He says everyone, including the media and party officials, are restricting from accessing me. He says a journalist, Zake Francis, was arrested outside my gate as he made my way to my house. He was badly beaten by soldiers. So yeah, we could just see all the repression going on here because they're against the even if it's just marginally against capital interests, it's enough for us to support Museveni doing disgusting shit, as we see.
Exactly. It's enough for the U.S. to be like, all right,
Yeah, we're down.
Shut that shit down.
Yeah, I saw another thing. There's something like 200 plus soldiers surrounding his house of just him and his wife. So yeah, that's us. That's our money. That's our taxpayer money.
Absolutely.
It's something like $1 billion. And I'm sure that doesn't include all the like shadow war CIA money we spend in Africa too. And all this, I think we can include when we talk more about Africa in a piece we plan on doing that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And Eian brought this up, and I had seen this too, but
oh yeah,
we should tie this in. As Lumumba was assassinated on this day,
from the Congo, Congolese revolutionary, incredible man.
He was their leader from being under colonialism to
that post-colonial power stage, and he was the one that led. He was the guy that led the country further and further to a more like like socialist type of way of living,
or just a more egalitarian, more for the people.
No longer being under the thumb of the West.
And he was in 1961,
I think
1961, I believe, he was assassinated.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting, and rest in power to a great one, and solidarity.
If you want more on that, one of our earliest shows we cover Patrice Lumumba and the story about how after his death his body was melted down in acid, and even his teeth and bones.
That's right. Yes,
they were kept by the generals that had killed him. That were supported by the West.
They kept his teeth as souvenirs, and the family of Patrice Lumumba wanted the remains returned to them.
Right.
Taken out of this Belgian museum.
Yeah, disgusting.
The Belgians played a huge part in everything that happened in the Congo.
They were the colonial power that went in.
Yeah. Which is just baby France.
Yeah, and they were part of the. I think that's the correct way to talk about him too, because in regards to his assassination, it was a collection of both Belgium, France, and the U.S. intelligence agencies working together to kill him.
Yeah, but fuck Belgium.
Yeah, fuck Belgium. Just want to touch on that. Rest in power. Also, solidarity to Bobi Wine and all the young people in Uganda fighting for just democracy as people are around the world.
Absolutely.
I think on that note, let's move to our break so we can get to our last part.
Yeah, so we're gonna quickly go into our last break. If you like kind of what you heard towards the end, go ahead and drop a follow. We'll be right back after the song. But yeah, now would be the time to drop a follow so we can shout you out before we go. Thank you so much. I'll plug this really quick. If you have an Amazon Prime account, please link that to your Twitch, and you can give us your free Prime sub. Costs you absolutely no money, but it only helps us grow, as well as make you more likely to come back and hang out with us. Which we love. We enjoy everybody hanging out with us. Feel free to type in chat as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have questions, throw anything in there. We're always attentive. We always appreciate, we have 13 people here right now. We love you guys. We're going to be right back. So
yeah.
Well, I'll just mention real quick that the last point you kind of made about how the intelligence agencies can really work together when it comes to something like this, but apparently they can't work together to stop domestic terrorism.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which shows that they can, they just choose not to.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah, good point.
We know whose side they're on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent.
Right,
we'll be right back, everybody.
You're so sweet and warm inside.
Hey,
What's up?
yo.
Our viewership kind of dropped there. Fuck those people.
Cola Boy is fucking awesome.
He is.
At least leave after the song.
Right? Maybe that's why. Maybe they were leaving right at the end. Thank you to the people still watching, though. You're cooler.
Yep.
Until you leave, then you're a little bitch.
Yep.
I don't make up the rules. Carlos does.
Yep, Carlos. Definitely said
I
that.
love being the scapegoat.
At the top of the show, Carlos said, if anyone leaves, you call them. Well, actually, I won't say what he said because I don't agree with that.
It's not appropriate for the stream, what I said.
I don't agree with what
That's for the locker room, but
if this is locker room talk. I don't even wait. Jeez.
it's crazy.
I
He
think
was our
our
president.
quality is coming.
It is crazy. I think after we do some of our pieces here, we're gonna touch on X. This is our last show with Donnie Boy as our president.
Yeah, Donald Trump. This is the last show where he is our prezi. When you see us again on Wednesday, we'll be there when Biden is inaugurated. You'll be there with us live.
We'll find out whether it's gonna be Biden or Trump, the final showdown.
Well, yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna see the. It's either Biden or he gets sick like Zachary Taylor on the inauguration day and dies or something.
It's just the fucking the red wedding from Game of Thrones.
God.
Biden drinks out of the goblet and just.
I'm curious, do the betting markets still have odds for Trump?
Nah. They said something now like 25,000 plus National Guard troops are going to be at the Capitol that day.
Sounds like you need to be placing your bets for Trump then, is what that means.
Well, because now I've seen pieces too, and we can think about how, the failure of intelligence agencies up to this point, but they're also saying that they're like doing extra vetting for the National Guard soldiers because they don't want, like something to happen within them. Like what if that
fucking
guys
psycho.
with guns that are inside? Yeah, those are the biggest psychos. Like you're putting them inside. Like, geez.
And what makes it even more crazy is National Guard. You didn't join any of the active duty shits. You joined the National Guard, bro. You gotta be a different kind of Joker pill to do that shit.
They're the half of those people are the type of people that went to the Capitol and did that shit.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, so you're now gonna protect Joe Biden. But yeah, we'll be there for the whole shit show and our thoughts. Yeah, you wanna jump into our first thing?
Yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, do you wanna do this one? The Jimmy?
Oh
one?
Yeah. My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah.
What piece of shit. So I was just scrolling through Twitter the other day, and this is a really good clip of Adore. He went on Fox News. He went on Tucker Carlson show, which he's done before. And he's gotten shit before. I think it's a good move, especially because he goes on there and he doesn't just try to fucking like spew out left pill shit. He talks about an issue where unless you really say this is a Democrat or Republican issue, it's like everybody can relate to this issue. Like he's really good about putting in left ideas without getting any pushback of being like socialist. So yeah,
he's crafting it to be digestible for Donald Trump, who's trying to. That's his audience because Trump watches fucking Tucker Carlson.
Exactly, and another thing that kind of like made me mad is I saw like a bunch of lefties, not a bunch of lefties, but I saw some lefties trying to give him shit, saying like he should have went on Tucker Carlson's show and talked about Medicare for all and blah blah blah. It's like, do you not know where he's going? And
if the purpose is to get on here and just say shit so that maybe it will stick to Trump's stupid ass brain and he'll do something like pardon Assange.
Exactly.
That's not a good approach. The approach should be how Jimmy does it.
Exactly. Something way more likely that Trump will do. Trump will never allow like a Medicare for all, so you're wasting time trying to talk to him there.
Or if that's what you want to do, there's a certain way to say that.
Yeah.
And make that argument.
Exactly.
I think.
But just like the way some people were trying to attack him on this very stupid issue. Like it's not the Assange thing is not a stupid issue, but like
a lot of people just tried to attack him, just saying just going on the show is a bad thing, and people
say
that shit all the time.
People always try to do that shit. Like they try to say that when Kyle went on Fox News. Like
oh yeah. And they screenshot it and they show just the screenshot, but they never show the video and the substance of what's Jimmy's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of lefties don't understand power.
I mean, like, if you're not willing to just go somewhere to, like, at least just spread your own message, because, I mean, that's pretty much what you're getting, at least. And, I mean,
yep.
If you do that on Fox News, is like, they're overwhelmingly likely to just, like, camp you if you go too far with the truth.
Yeah.
Like, if you call it straight to their face, they'll just never invite you again. But if you just try to make reasonable points, but just don't, I guess, if you try to play within the bounds, you have a chance.
Yeah, like Jimmy does whenever he goes on Tucker Carlson's show. He knows how to talk to Tucker, and he knows how to talk to Trump.
That isn't to say we agree with Tucker or Trump. They're both fucking despicable people in their own different ways.
Yeah, but we understand that Jimmy Dore is using them as a way to communicate.
Well, at least the audience who watches Tucker Carlson, more importantly than anything.
Yes. Yeah, because if at the least the audience is convinced that pardoning Julian Assange is a good thing, we've won the battle of ideas or whatever you want to call it.
We're getting more people to understand that Assange should be free.
Yeah, whether they're actually coming to that, like if they're reasoning that a good way, if they're just like, oh, it's on Tucker, so that's the opinion I'll have.
As long as
I'll fucking take it. Yeah.
As long as they get to the right position. That's all. As long as we get closer and closer to freeing Assange, who fucking cares?
And it shows, it's very funny too, like that people criticize lefties that go on Tucker to make their case for issues that are important, and they're like, oh, why don't you go on something else? And it's like, well, you know why? Because MSNBC and CNN won't even have the left people on.
Absolutely.
So what does that fucking say about those?
I gotta be honest, during like this whole Trump era, I can almost officially say that I think Fox News is more, at least, open to the left wing than CNN or MSNBC.
Yeah, sometimes
like,
that's
undoubtedly.
Sometimes they do that to in dishonesty to peddle like stuff, I think. But
I almost think they're so dumb that they actually think that these ideas are stupid. And they
like when
want
they put up
people
those
to see how
things,
stupid they are. But they just don't understand.
Yeah, the Democrats want Medicare for all. They want a living wage.
Green New Deal.
Yeah.
If you're not the owner class, like all this shit is super reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's watch it. It's not too much here. So.
The first person to be platformed was WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, and this would be a great way for Donald Trump to stick the thumb back in the eye of these people, is to pardon Julian Assange. If he knows what's good for freedom of speech and freedom of the press, he should take this moment and pardon Julian Assange.
I didn't used to think that, and I totally agree with it, partly because you convinced me through the force of your argument. I think that's absolutely right.
No, the first.
You talked really loud, really fast. So now I agree with
I'm in. Yeah.
He's like, I agree with you. I didn't believe this before, but through the power of good discourse,
persuasion,
speech level 100 just mopped him. But
and Trump probably won't do this, but regardless, at least someone's shoving it into his brain, and there's a possibility. It's better than other people
and hearing
just
people
saying
like
we shouldn't
Tucker,
go on.
And hearing people like Tucker, who Trump likes, say this is a good idea. It further reinforces these things.
Yeah, especially for, I think, as Carlos said, the audience, the general audience, because they're going to hear that and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm down with. And then maybe that furthers their, maybe that furthers their research in Julian Assange.
And I like a bunch of like uber conservative family and a lot of people who really look up to Tucker Carlson. Oh fuck, I'm sorry. But yeah, a lot of people, they look up to Tucker Carlson and just old Republican shit. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this is gonna, things like that, which if they happen to watch that night, change their perspective on it.
Although it's unfortunate though, it is. You also have to acknowledge that it could be used as the like bait 'em in with half truth.
Yeah,
to
no,
then
of
get
course.
him to listen
And
to
that's
the real
Tucker's kinda
crazy
role.
right wingers.
Yeah, that's what Tucker does.
Because he's like the anti-war guy, but in the same breath, he kind of excuses elitism and imperialism.
Yeah, and he'll be like, yeah, like we said this before, like anti-war but private militias or
Yeah.
But
if we can use that to push our argument, then it's right to go on these platforms and do that. It's a useful tool for us.
Absolutely.
So, let's move to the next piece. And I think with that one, obviously, it has to do with general censorship and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've covered in the past Glenn Greenwald leaving The Intercept because he said he was being censored by the editors over the Joe Biden and Hunter Biden Burisma story. And this from the Washington Post. I hate reading shit from the Post, but we have some screenshots here, so I'll go ahead and read it. It says, Laura, I hope I'm not mispronouncing it, Poitras says she's been fired by First Look Media, that's the media company that owns The Intercept, over reality winner controversy. Now she's questioning the company's integrity. Is by Sarah Ellison. It says, 3 days after Thanksgiving, filmmaker Laura Poitras received a blandly chipper text signaling the end of her time with the media organization she co-founded and which she now says has betrayed its mission. Quote, hope all is well and you remain safe, unquote. Drew Wilson, the chief financial officer of First Look Media, wrote to Poitras. Do you have a few minutes tomorrow to catch up? In their phone call the next day, Poitras says, she was fired. And she says it was in retaliation for speaking to the media about the organization's failure to protect a source who is now serving 5 years in prison for leaking confidential intelligence documents to one of First Look's publications, The Intercept. Poitras revealed her departure from First Look in an open letter on Thursday. The news came nearly 7 years after she and several other prominent investigative journalists launched the company they hoped would provide tough-minded, independent, and original reporting with the help of generous funding from billionaire eBay founder Pierre Omidyar. In a statement early Thursday afternoon, First Look described Poitras' departing from the company as a, quote, natural decision to not renew her contract after she, quote, decided to step away from her role at the company to pursue her own projects, unquote. The company denied that its decision was based on Poitras' talking to the media. Later Thursday, First Look issued another statement that Poitras had, quote, not been active in any capacity with our company for more than 2 years. This is simply not a tenable situation for us or any company, unquote. Poitras denied this, saying she has been active on several films in production when she was fired, as well as making an online security guide for filmmakers. Her departure means only one person from First Look's founding team remains after years of turmoil and turnover at the organization, during which he says she was repeatedly, quote, raising concerns internally about patterns of discrimination and retaliation. Poitras, a 2012 MacArthur, quote, Genius Grant recipient, came to prominence for her 2013 Pulitzer-winning work with Glenn Greenwald, bringing to light the blockbuster disclosures of National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden. Greenwald was also one of the First Look's co-founders. He quit in October with a fiery and meandering resignation letter, objecting to what he called censorship of a column he had written about then Democratic nominee Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Now, it goes on to say, now Jeremy Scahill, a former Nation writer, who is close to The Intercept's editor-in-chief, Betsy Reid, is the only member of the founding team remaining at the organization. You can look to the past story when Glenn Greenwald left, and all these people were pretty much what made The Intercept, like what gave people that leaked all the stuff from the NSA documents with Edward Snowden and Bradley Manning. And that's what kind of gave The Intercept their rep, because Glenn Greenwald was there, Poitras was there. And now you're seeing as they become more corporate, and now they're just further joined at the hip with their mega donors. Now Glenn's left, Warren's been fired and left, and even Jeremy Scahill has had a couple statements where doesn't seem like he's going to leave, because it seems like he has a much more cushy relationship with the editors and the the donors, but it still seems like he's not completely satisfied either. So, yeah, it's sad to see, but it shows that we can't rely on, you see it with like Truthdig too, which was somewhere I read for a long time with Chris Hedges. They were supported by a couple big mega donors, and as the interest of the mega donors conflicted with the articles that were being written by the publishers, it didn't, they had to start firing people basically, and a bunch of writers like Chris Hedges ended up leaving Truthdig because of that. And yeah, it's going to further happen as the Silicon Valley and these mega corporations get more and more control over the internet and over journalistic enterprise too.
Absolutely.
Now it's journalistic enterprise now is what we call it. It's an enterprise.
It's a market.
It's a market. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I had for that story. And let's pull up our video and let's just get right into it because it's our only video. And this was big in the news, and you even saw, I think Ian quoted a tweet of Hillary Clinton like, "Oh, I'm hearts out to the Flint kids."
I'm thinking about the children of Flint, Michigan.
Like, yeah, you mean that the children you all helped poison by, basically stooging for General Motors and switching the water purposely and poisoning everyone's water in Flint. And what I'm saying now is like the recent news was that Snyder, Governor Snyder, he was hit with a misdemeanor charge, and people were like, "Oh, this is justice." Nothing happens to him.
It's like, like a couple of people got like fined. Somebody got like maybe
virtually nothing,
like a year with chance of parole or something, which he's gonna get.
Which these people should be spending the rest of their lives in jail for the crime and they committed. And Jordan Chariton, who has done great work on this for years, since like 2015 or 16, has been talking about the Flint crisis, and he's been talking about it stringently, and he makes the point every time that this isn't an accident or anything. They did this shit on purpose. I mean, this is a crime against humanity, and it's been allowed to go on for years. And COVID has combined with this and made it worse. Not only do they have COVID in this area that's extremely impoverished, but they also have no clean water to shower or drink with.
They have to constantly buy water.
Yeah, they have to wash with bottled water or drink it. Or some people drive out of town to go shower at friends' houses and drive back.
Yep.
Chariton talks to Michael Moore, a Michigan resident too, and filmmaker that I'm sure plenty of people know about, and he talks about this, so I think it's relevant.
But this individual who's with me here today, Jordan Chariton, he has doggedly been covering this story now since 2016. He created a investigative news site called Status Coup, and he has written for The Intercept and other publications. So he's been on the ground in Flint, in and out of Flint. He told me he's made 17 trips to Flint. So that automatically gives him a passport and a visa and legitimacy to call himself a quasi-Flint resident. So while much of the national media had forgotten the story, he's written an excellent new piece in The Intercept called "How a Flurry of Suspicious Phone Calls Set Investigators on Rick Snyder's Trail." I'm very pleased to have him with us here today on Rumble. Please welcome Jordan Chariton. Jordan, how are you?
Hey, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the work you've put into this story over the years. They've convinced, I think, a lot of people who are maybe listening to us right now are going, why are you guys talking about this? I get why, okay, yeah, the governor, was arrested, this week. But hey, it got fixed a couple years ago. That's not the case, is it, Jordan?
They literally cooked the data from 2016 to at least 2018. Governor Whitmer, when she came in, she actually acknowledged that the testing was done wrong. So frankly, I don't want to give any, fear to anyone, but I don't think there's any declarative way to declare this water safe today because the testing was compromised. Erin Brockovich, she saw what I had and she called it a crime. She said the testing needs to be invalidated and redone by an independent agency. That was never done. So this is still, I think people have become numb to the term crisis. This is still a disaster. I mean, we got COVID. Everybody is suffering right now. But in Flint, they got a double disaster because not only older ages are compromised to the coronavirus, all ages are compromised. And there's also, and I think from the current mayor to media, they've framed it as no, the water is better. It's an issue of trust. I'm telling you, because I've been there, there's still issues with this water. And there's also, with all due respect to Attorney General Nessel, there is evidence that my reporting indicates that this was not neglect of duty. This was an active cover-up where Governor Snyder was, it's not just that he allowed it to happen while it was going on in real time. Him and his top officials were actively suppressing the information from reaching the public. That's it's in the Intercept story. The original investigators, they found misconduct in office. They were going for involuntary manslaughter. And I'll quickly mention, and I'd ask the Attorney General this, the governor's top advisor and right-hand man 2 days ago was charged with extortion, perjury, misconduct in office, and obstruction of justice. Our reporting has found he allegedly, I use allegedly to be responsible, but I have confirmation, he allegedly offered numerous payoffs to the sickest Flint residents that were causing too much trouble and getting media eyeballs. He allegedly tried to get state officials that were being subpoenaed for interviews with investigators, all on the same script. He allegedly misused state funds for those payoffs. I think, just a common sense question. How did he do all this without the governor knowing? If he is the governor's top advisor, he introduced himself to experts in Flint, water experts, residents, as I'm here on behalf of Rick Snyder. We're best friends. So, let's see what evidence they produce in court. But I do know, if we weren't living in a 24/7 Trump apocalypse, this is not an environmental cover-up. This is one of the biggest cover-ups of the 21st century. And I'd love to know, for the current team, yes, of course, any charges is better than none. But, I would love to know why they stopped just at this misdemeanor.
Exactly. Because let me just say why this is not a misdemeanor. And we haven't really gotten into this, but the effects of lead on a child's brain. If a child 6 years old or under ingests any lead, they have permanent brain damage, permanent for life. It's estimated that at least 10,000 children in Flint now have permanent brain damage there is no pill to take. There's no operation to conduct. There's no medicine. Jordan, thank you so much for your reporting all these years, for your latest piece here on Flint, which I will have a link right here on the podcast page. Please read it and read his other work. It's so important.
Yeah, and when we link this story or this video too, that will be linked, the Intercept story within the video too, so you guys will get that.
I did not know that kids that ingest lead get permanent brain damage.
Lead's not good for you. It turns out.
Yeah. Well, I knew it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But...
No, yeah.
But that it completely eats away at your brain.
Right.
And they knowingly did this to children, thousands of children and adults too. Like, you can't just minimize that too. Like,
yeah,
all these adults that have lived there their whole life and gonna work are too poor to move out of Flint. They're like losing their hair, or they've mysteriously have gotten like multiple bouts of cancer.
Yep.
Or like they've had a bunch of miscarriages, or their children are born with defects, or as Michael Moore said, their children have brain damage from ingesting lead. And yeah, I like how he said, like, this isn't a misdemeanor. Like, what they did is it's as disgusting as it gets, and that's how
No,
it should be
it's
talked about.
like a crime against like humanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember how they covered it up with the testing? How they got the residents to do improper testing by letting the water run? Because the problem was when the water would sit and the lead pipes were getting lead contaminated into the sitting water. So if you had your water running for however, like 5, 10, 15 minutes, like they told these people to do, when you tested that water after, it'd come out, much lower. But it would still have lead in it.
Right.
It is crazy. So it proves they didn't fix the problem by replacing all the pipes, which is what they needed to do. That's never been done. How? That alone proves that they're all complicit.
Yes.
Because I mean, you can't find the budget to fix a town's like failing water system.
And the sad part, and like, not to take away from the Flint situation, but there's so many Flint, Michigans all over the country that
we don't know about.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not being talked about. We don't
one
know
city.
about them.
And that proves it's a failure of the system.
Yeah, and like I said, it's absolutely not to take away from the Flint situation at all. The Flint situation is very important, and it's good that people are talking about it. But yeah, there's definitely many Flint, Michigans all around the country right now that we don't know about.
We covered it too, I think, in one of our early shows. It's something like 70% of all New York schools still have lead pipes.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not an isolated thing. This is just one of the most egregious examples. And Carlos is right. Of course they have the money for this. Like, one thing I learned from Michael Moore has a bunch of movies, and some are better than others, but I think one of the best ones he has is the one on Flint, Michigan. I think it's called Fahrenheit 11/9, so 9/11. And in it, he has a part where, like, they I'm trying to remember, like, I think whatever. I lost my train of thought, but he in that. Oh, okay, I remember what I was saying. Like, when they switched the water, they didn't switch the pure clean water that was coming from the lakes for the General Motors plant that was using, like, when they would have the cars, they would soak the frames of the cars, the metal frames, to like temper them.
Oh yeah, I remember.
They were still using the clean water drawn from the lake. Meanwhile, people in the town were drinking the dirty water from the Flint River.
Yeah, because GM complained that like, we can't use this water.
Yeah, they're like, this dirty water is messing up the cars. Yeah, it's not tempering our cars right.
And
we can't do our product.
Yep, they immediately, like that, they fixed the problem.
But when it comes to an entire city not having clean water, children's getting permanent
can't fix it.
Yep, sorry,
we can't fix it. Whether it's switching the water to the lake, now privatized Lake Huron water, or whether it's like actually calling in like the Army Engineer Corps to go in there and like rip up all the pipes and completely redo it.
Yeah, and
we're not doing any of that.
And something that we covered in an earlier show. Flint is building a new juvenile detention center.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna cost like I think hundreds of millions, or
tens of millions at the least.
Yeah, so they're building a new juvenile detention center instead of using that money to fix their water.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like Carlos was saying, it's complicit. They understand they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Let's go into our last stuff. And you think normally we would start with this news at the top of the show. That's kind of the recent stuff. But I think it carries in the end here for two reasons. One, because we're about to move from the Trump administration, and I want to be real about what the Trump administration is. And we're moving to the Biden administration, and I want to be real about what the Biden administration is likely to be. And I also think these stories relate too, because in the case of Flint there, we see the lack of prosecution against actual criminals. Meanwhile, small-time criminals that have been reformed or completely regret their actions and are different from the people they were many years ago are being executed.
The example, Brandon Bernard.
Yeah, Brandon Bernard, Lisa Montgomery, who we covered, There's a couple other people who were killed too. One we don't have for tonight was because they were killed in succession pretty much, was Corey Johnson. He was the 12th person to be executed in the Trump administration. So his final words were funny. He had like a complaint where he's like, I asked for jelly donuts and they didn't give me that. It was kind of fucked up. But this last one they just did, and it's just so disgusting. And it says from the Associated Press, says breaking, U.S. carries out the 13th and final execution during the Trump administration, the most for any presidency in more than 120 years. And they have killed Dustin Higgs, who is a black man, and they killed him on the 15th, a couple days ago, which, for those that don't know, is the actual birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So it's, I mean, the disgusting irony there. They killed a black guy on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. I don't think those things happen on accident. I think, that's a purposeful signal.
Yeah.
Can we pull up the statement so we can read his statement? Because, I thought this was powerful, and I kind of shed a little tear when I read this. This is a statement from his attorney for Dustin Higgs in response to tonight's execution. It says, quote, "The government completed its unprecedented slaughter of 13 human beings tonight by killing Dustin Higgs, a black man who never killed anyone." In his specific case, it was the other person that actually was the person that killed all the people. He was not put on death row. This guy was just an accessory to the crime, and he's put on death row. He never killed anyone on Martin Luther King's birthday. Dustin was a fine man, a terrific father, brother, and nephew. Dustin spent decades on death row in solitary confinement, which the UN recognizes as a form of torture, helping others around him while working tirelessly to fight his unjust convictions. In spite of those awful circumstances, he remained true to his family, doing all he could to help raise his amazing children, who have grown up to be wonderful people. This is a true testament to Dustin's character and to the man he had become. There was no reason to kill him, particularly during the pandemic and when he himself was sick with COVID that he contracted because of these irresponsible super spreader executions. Rest in peace, Dustin. Shame on all of those involved and all of those who have looked the other way. He ends with the Martin Luther King quote that says, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." And I think in a lot of ways that silence of our friends kind of represents what's going to happen with the Joe Biden administration.
Absolutely.
Everyone recognizes that Trump is our enemy, and even though this story is not being covered, like, look at the disgusting stuff he's doing. But if we look in the aggregate, what enabled this guy to go to jail and get this kind of sentence? Who authored one of the key authors of the 1994 crime bill? Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's kind of my piece before I give it off to you guys and we wrap it up here, is that, we're moved on the 20th, presumably Joe Biden is going to be the president. And I want us to recognize that we've had 4 years of Trump is the worst. And rightfully so, Trump has done bad things, but we have to recognize those bad things, whether it be militarism, racism, tax cuts for the rich, etc., that they're just extensions of a long history of empire, and that Joe Biden represents part of that history as well. We have to recognize that Trump is not possible without the years of Obama, and Obama is not possible without the years of Bush. I saw a comment that they said this is the third term of Barack, right, with Joe Biden, and someone says no, it's the fifth term of Bill Clinton is what and you could argue it's the eighth term of Ronald Reagan, because Bill Clinton is just the point is each is just a creation that enables the next, and so on. You can't have one without the other,
because they all represent the same system,
which is the capitalist empire.
Exactly.
And as much as Trump is a disgusting phlegm that we all recognize as that, the point is he's a phlegm that comes out of a sickness that infects the whole system. And Joe Biden is not just a representation of that. If anything, he is the representation of that. Like, because he was one of the main dudes that worked with Clinton on the crime bill and the Clinton era, and he was Barack Obama's sidekick. So he is like the guy who is an extension of what gave us Trump.
Absolutely.
So we need to recognize that as such and treat him as such, because he is as much an enemy to working people as Donald Trump is.
I can't remember who I heard say this, but I heard someone say that a lot of Obama's presidency, he acted as if he wasn't the president.
Yeah, as if he had no control, too. And I think Joe Biden will act in much the same way, and we see that rhetoric with now domestic terrorism being the reason we need to push through like more, security provisions and more money to the military state, and more power to the NSA. Yeah, because they're like, hey, we don't have any power. I'm just standby here.
And that's what Joe Biden's gonna do when it comes to anything that the progressives or the left wing in this country is gonna argue for to try to improve conditions for people. But no, we have to appease the GOP, not even Republican voters. The GOP, that's who Biden wants to work with, and that's why he's so disliked.
Exactly. We got to be civil with the GOP because we don't want to fall into fascist Trump. That's going to be their argument. It's going to be used as a cudgel against us.
It's interesting that you brought that up, Carlos. Like the original idea of like he kind of just pretended he wasn't president. And you could say Trump did that as well. Like that's like a very common theme with presidents.
Well, especially when it fits what they need.
Exactly, and like the Trump's whole thing, like he was still getting shit done, but then he would do nothing. Democrats, they're the reason I can't get anything done, even though they'll get shit done, like increase the military budget.
When Trumpers would see like massive Black Lives Matter protests, and they're like, "This is Biden's America." It's like, but Trump's literally the president. You're acting like he's not. I don't understand.
Or it's like, this is what socialism looks like, and it's like literally capitalism.
We don't live in socialism, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's
this is what socialism looks like, and it's like pictures of Brazil.
Yeah, where it's like really nice resort next to like the favela. It's like
socialism. Like, oh yeah, that can't be capitalism. Yeah,
that can't be the thing we're literally doing right now.
Does anyone? Michael, do you have like any thoughts about just going from Trump to Biden? Like what we should expect?
I just think a lot of people shouldn't expect much.
Yes.
Thanks for the
raid, Constable. Raiding with the party at 2. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it.
Appreciate that. We appreciate you.
Much love, brother.
Much
or
love.
Sister, or
donation.
It's Captain Planet.
It's Captain Planet.
Hell yeah.
Welcome. Captain Planet Raid. And with Jacan with the biddies. That's really sick. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Especially here at the end too. If you guys are new, we're a news podcast, and we've gone through a bunch of stuff today, from South Carolina races and DNC chair picks, Amazon unionization, earthquake in Indonesia.
We talked about Uganda and what's going on there. We briefly covered
Michigan.
We briefly covered the like a quick history of who Patrice Lumumba was, because today's the anniversary or the day he was assassinated. We mourn in remembrance of Patrice Lumumba, who is a Congolese revolutionary leader.
Yeah, Michael said the Flint story we just covered, and the last thing we just got through the executions from the Trump administration, which should be one of the long-lasting legacies of his administration. Well, he's just, they're just sitting in silence now, taking their licks after getting bodied, but the wheels keep turning. We can just push through and get these people executed. And it should be the legacy of the Democrats in this time too. Look how they have fought. They haven't fought against the death penalty right now, and used that as like a way to challenge the Trump administration. The Democrats haven't talked at all about executions, partly because a lot of them fucking believe that the state should do this draconian shit. And yeah, if you guys enjoy our shit, like, keep watching.
And to what Constable saying in chat, they on their stream said we were just watching the ep of Captain Planet from 1992 where he told President Bush Sr. about greenhouse effect and told him to switch away from fossil fuels.
Never forget, Bush Sr. gave a speech about climate change, acknowledging it exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was talking about, the history of how each president leads to the next. Without, well, obviously Reagan came before him, but without that push from the Reaganites, which created Clinton and moved both the parties to the right, you don't get that overall shift. Because you had, even, and as shitty as Bush Sr. is, he's probably, the number one CIA operative of all time. But yeah, even he acknowledged that, at one point he acknowledged that climate change was caused by fossil fuel use.
God, how stupid was his son?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why it's amazing. H-Dub was literally the king of the CIA, like LeBron James of the CIA. And then you just have W.
Yeah,
just Coke son.
College parties.
Like, even his dad could probably recognize that. Yeah, it's like the intelligence agency angle on climate change. Like, oh, it's a threat to our national security of ruling the world.
Yeah. An Aussie, Constable Aussie. Yeah. You guys have an interesting far-right turn in Australia. And just the general, like, anti-Muslim sentiment, too. You're not the only place, though, and don't feel like it's because, like, Brazil is still flirting with the fascist right with Bolsonaro. Poland is.
Yeah, Poland's huge, and then
Hungary,
as well as like Sweden. Sweden like is super like anti Muslim.
Yeah. And don't think that just because we're getting Joe Biden or because France has Macron that they're somehow something different than these far-right fascist figures. They're the ones that create the conditions, the material conditions that push people to fall into demagoguery and bullshit to support figures like Trump.
That they fall into the rhetoric of right-wing nationalist movements.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's what was our point in saying that, like, Joe Biden is in the same way Obama was a neoliberal, that we saw states here in the U.S., like the state of Michigan, which was a state that goes Democrat all the time, went for Obama twice in the elections, 2008 and 12. And then for Trump, they went for Trump. And that's something we can't discount, because in Michigan, they were so damaged by NAFTA and just the financialization and the selling out of jobs and the destruction of the working class there. Yeah, it's all an extension. It's empire. Yeah. None of these things are disconnected.
Absolutely.
And it shows that, like, they're at least intelligent enough to realize that, like, they've been ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wanting something better, but unfortunately the two-party system's not going to give it to you.
Or some of them were even cynical too, and they knew Trump wasn't going to give them anything, but they'd rather vote for him than what
he was
they know
one
is
at least saying he would.
Yeah, he was at least lying to them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And as we have said before too, a lot of them wanted, in states like West Virginia, shows that they would have voted for Bernie Sanders until he was sniped out of the primary. So can't blame them for that. You guys have any final thought? Yeah, Carlos?
We gotta mention what's coming up on Inauguration Day, the 20th.
Yeah, let's
be doing a live special.
Oh yes,
for all of you people out there.
So Wednesday, what time is it? What time are we gonna be hopping on approximately? You think, like, about?
Probably like 8 or 9. Probably early, because we don't know when they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Presumably early. They're gonna do it before noon. So the inauguration, that is.
Yeah, so 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in California. Around 8 or 9 a.m. We're gonna be hopping on stream. Instead of our, are we gonna do something at 10:30 still, or is this gonna be the special?
We can kind of give everyone a memo Tuesday night, because we can all get together Tuesday night and kind of work this out too.
Yeah, sure. So yeah,
because we don't know it's only a day and a half till then basically, but
sure.
Things could still change. So I guess we can wait till that night to kind of decide what we're gonna do.
So yeah, you should keep up to date with our Twitter and Instagram, so you know when everything's gonna get worked out with that. But yeah, expect an inauguration stream here on the Spoop Podcast on Wednesday, January 20th. Yeah, Michael just linked our contact info.
It's got everything there.
Yeah, it's like the link tree or whatever, but I think it looks nicer. So yeah, you can follow us on everything right there, and keep up to date with the inauguration stream, as well as things like the Africa special. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of your guys' hair. It's the end of the show. We've gone through all of our stuff. If you're interested in what we were talking about, you can watch the VOD or wait 24 hours and watch the YouTube re-upload. That will be time-stamped, and the scrub bar will be all like sectioned off, so you can figure out what we're talking about, as well as links to everything we talked about in the bio. So yeah, this is the end of the show. Thank you guys so much, everybody who joined. Constable for the raid.
Yeah, thank you for the new people. We always appreciate it.
We super appreciate that. Now would be the time to drop a follow, so we can chat before we get out of here.
Or even questions. We're here while the song plays too.
Exactly. We're in chat while our outro song plays. If you're interested in checking us out or asking us questions, I mean. But yeah, we really appreciate everything. Workers of the world unite. Say it all the time. Super hammer it on every time. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and we really appreciate all of you. And we will be back on Wednesday with Papa Biden, Robinette as our president.
Credit card Joe.
Credit card Joe.
I'd say I'll for sure say this. I want it to be a special, because we haven't done a special since the election, and I think this is probably our best chance at getting one in.
Yeah, I agree.
So that'll be special number 4.
So y'all better fucking watch, is what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Show up, have fun.
And it'll be a long one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It'll be a big interaction, so come hang out, come talk. I know if you got stuff to do that day, it'll be early in the morning, so I mean, we understand.
It's more loose than this too. So.
The VOD will be up on YouTube too the next day.
Yeah.
So, but if you can make it, even for a little bit, we'll appreciate it. It'd be nice to see you.
Fuck yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. And we'll update more on our social media when the
so please follow us on our social media. I'll try to get that interaction up, so we can keep you guys up to date with more stuff. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna get out of your hair now and play our outro song. Again, thank you so much, and later.
Hell yeah.
Bye everybody. See you on Wednesday.